No commitment. I know my ability to concentrate has been severely diminished, but I don't think it mattered much. I sat on the bumper of a blue Chevy at an intersection. My mind was in turmoil, and I was driving more out of habit than anything else. The light turned green, and I followed the Chevy through the intersection. Well, at least I started to follow it. I remember seeing something out of the corner of my left eye. Then dreams, nightmares, hallucinations, pain, and suffering became my constant companions. I remember seeing my family. I remember people talking to me. The funny thing is that I understood every word, but collectively, the words made no sense. They were just words and nothing more. Everything blended together as if I was jumping from one dream or nightmare to another. I never felt awake or lucidly conscious. Eventually, some part of me realized that this wasn't real, that my world was currently just a place in my mind. It didn't stop the pain or nightmares, but it did reduce the suffering. I opened my eyes. Everything was different now. I could see the walls and the ceiling. I could hear a voice, and the words made sense when I listened. I began to mentally describe my body. I could move my toes. That's a good thing. Then I tried feeling my toes, and to my relief, it worked. The pain was dull, constant, but after what I felt, I was able to put it out of my mind. I tried to turn my head and it almost exploded. I must have groaned. "Mr. Hadley, you're awake!" A pretty young woman almost shouted, bringing her face close to mine and smiling. "I'll get the doctor. Just rest. I'll be right back." I think I fell asleep again. The next thing I knew, a younger man was looking into my eyes and squinting at my head. "Welcome back, Mr. Hadley. It's been quite a while, but you're fine now. You were in a car accident. You were banged up and you were away from us for a while, but now you seem to be out of the woods. I know you have a lot of questions, but you need to get some sleep and recover. We have given you some things to help with the pain and help you sleep, but don't worry. You will see your family very soon." I closed my eyes for a second, and when I opened them again, I realized I must have slept for hours. Jim and Tiffany were standing next to the bed to my left, smiling when I looked over. "Oh, Daddy," exclaimed Tiff. "We were so worried about you. I knew you were a tough nut and would pull through. I love you so much, Daddy." "Yeah, Dad, you're too mean to just die," Jim laughed. "You've got years ahead of you. I guess you have your mom to thank for that." I tried to answer, but my mouth felt like someone had poured sand in it. I couldn't open my lips. I couldn't find the words in any way, so I just tried to smile, and even that hurt a little. "That's right, Dad. Mom gave you the kind of gift that's always with you. She gave you her kidney, Daddy. I guess you're like Siamese twins joined at hip level from now on." Tiffany laughed. "Come on, look the other way. Mom's over there." I turned my head somehow and saw the bed next to mine. It took a minute or two for my eyes to focus. I could finally make out Gwen sitting on the bed smiling at me, tears streaming down her cheeks. Was this real or another nightmare? What were they saying about the kidney? Why did I need it? Why had Gwen given it to me? There was too much information to comprehend. I closed my eyes again. I slept most of the next few days. When I had a period of lucid consciousness, the nurses, doctors, and my children explained how I was in the situation I was in. Gradually, I learned to distinguish between reality and dreams. I don't know what they were giving me, but it was some serious shit. A guy trying to elude the cops had rammed into my car from the driver's seat side. To avoid a ticket for going 60 in a 40 kilometers per H zone, this guy was on the verge of taking my very life. The police estimated that the speed was actually around 80 kilometers per H when he hit me. I couldn't get away from the idea that the speed of the blow made no difference to me. The problem was the outcome. The kid wasn't hurt, and his old man bailed him out. That little bastard will probably have fun at his graduation this weekend. I played soccer in high school, and I think I was a pretty good receiver. I was fast and could catch anything I could touch. I went to Penn State and tried out for the team. I didn't have a scholarship. That should give a clue as to how the coaches evaluated my talent. All the guys worked very hard to show the coaching staff their ability and desire. The first time we had full contact drills, I did my cutting lunge and saw the ball flying in my direction. It must have flown about a meter above my head, so I jumped up and grabbed it with my right hand. When I caught it, I knew the coaches must be impressed. What I didn't expect was the speed and power of the guys trying to get through the defense. Before I could put the ball down and get my hands on it, a 100-pound halfback hit me. He was going full speed when he lowered his shoulder and hit me in the right side. I wrapped myself around him like a pretzel as he bulldozed the synthetic turf of the practice field with me. I woke up in the hospital. I urinated blood for a week, and the doctors seemed very concerned for the first few days. By the end of the week, I was allowed to leave. The only problem was that my right kidney was pretty badly damaged. I was warned to always be careful and take great care of my left one. I wouldn't have had any problems with all of my kidney function if I never did anything stupid like play soccer or get made into a chop in the driver's seat. That's where it got interesting. I actually wasn't as badly hurt in the accident as you might expect, except that my left kidney was almost knocked off. Naturally, it was decided that if a donor could be found quickly, a transplant was the best option. Gwen was tested, although there were odds against her kidney being a match. Yes, you guessed it. While I was floating around in my dreams and nightmares, it was decided that I would get a kidney from Gwen. They told me that I was aware of the decision and even agreed to it. I saw no point in arguing with that statement, but I didn't remember anything that had happened, and I didn't agree with anything. Gwen felt better much sooner than I did, but that was normal. It wasn't like she'd been implanted with a foreign organ. I was the one they had to observe, making sure that the organ was not rejected. When I came to, Gwen was by my side all the time. She read me the paper, wiped my forehead, and even helped me to the bathroom. It was a difficult time, but eventually they let me go home. I stayed home for about 6 more weeks before I was able to return to work. Throughout this time, Gwen was attentive and understanding. She tried her best to be cheerful and upbeat. The kids went back to college but came home most weekends to see me and help their mother care for me. Gwen made a full recovery in a very short period of time. At least it seemed that way to me. After a couple weeks, she went back to work and I lay at home alone for a month. Gradually, I recovered, and by the second week, when Gwen went to work, I was able to walk around the block. This seemed to be a breakthrough event in my recovery. By the time I went back to work, I was getting around pretty well. The doctors told me it would be months before I was 100% healthy, but that day would come. When I went back to work, they gave me a light-duty job for a couple weeks. Eventually, I complained to my supervisor that I needed to get back to my regular duties. I worked for the phone company. I am one of those guys who checks lines and poles while in buckets on hoists. I'm good at it, and I like it. The next week, I went back to doing what I liked and felt better about it. I had been a little nervous driving for a few months, and I still look both ways at every intersection. I knew how lucky I was to be in the company truck when the guy hit me with his dad's SUV. If I had been in the passenger car, it would have been over. 6 months after the accident, almost everything was back to normal, with one big exception. Gwen and I didn't make love. It wasn't that she didn't want to. She wanted to. In fact, she was even somewhat intrusive at times, but I just couldn't. I had a serious problem. The day of the accident, I was working with a line running along the highway. I was concentrating on the mess caused by the backhoe ripping the cable. I was given the job because I had done it before, and they knew I could do it again. I happened to glance up at the roof of a dump truck parked nearby. Just behind it was a motel catering to motorists on Interstate 80. I spotted a car, very similar to Gwen's, that had stopped 40 feet from where I was sitting. Funny how we seem to be invisible when we work in these buckets. Another car pulled up and the driver got out. It was Ben Poole, Gwen's co-worker. As he walked around the front of his Explorer, a lady stepped out of a neighboring car and greeted him with a slow, hot kiss. And it wasn't a lady, it was my wife. I watched in stunned silence as they held hands and headed toward room 108. Ben slid the key into the slot, and they stepped inside. Before Gwen could pull back the curtain, I saw Ben groping her breasts through her clothes. I felt sick to my stomach as I considered my situation. Gwen had never been a sexy woman. She was attractive and always dressed well, but unless I initiated love, it just didn't happen. Nor was it unusual that it sometimes didn't happen, even when I was active. I had come to terms with the fact that her sex drive wasn't that great. She was a wonderful mother and wife in every other way. At least that's what I thought. The fact that Ben had slept with her to the bone gave me reason to reconsider her reputation as a faithful wife. And that wasn't something I was going to accept. I didn't feel that rushing to the motel and demanding some kind of payback on the spot would solve the problem. It was too late not to become a cuckold. I didn't think it was their first meeting. They were already too good with each other for that. Unfortunately, as I pondered the situation, it gradually became clear to me that there was only one way out, but to kill them both. At the time, I had no desire for revenge. I was just a person in pain. I wanted to crawl away and lick my wounds in some cave. It never even occurred to me to hurt Gwen. At the same time, I knew our marriage was over. I wasn't the most handsome guy in the world, and a lot of men made more money. If any or all of those things at once mattered to Gwen, she should have found another husband 23 years ago. I wasn't a superstar, but I had some pride and self-respect. If I didn't get rid of Gwen, I would have none of that. I had to appreciate the irony of the moment. If I lost Gwen, I would have almost nothing of importance left in my life. But if I continued to be a cuckold, I would have even less than nothing. It really was ironic. And then, this pathetic, pimply-faced jerk decided to run from the police. I could only walk around this planet because Gwen gave me her kidney. It screwed up all my resolve. After the accident, I thought about almost nothing else. I was as far from making a decision as I had been when I first learned that Gwen had donated her kidney to me. I had never agreed to that. It wasn't fair. It would have been so much easier if they had just let me die. Now I had to decide how to live the life that had been given back to me for the most part by an unfaithful wife. "I think you should see a doctor, Paul," Gwen said to me one night as we lay in bed. She was making sexual advances that I resisted again. I just couldn't get interested in her sexually. "Hey, I've only been going to doctors for the last 6 months, Gwen," I replied. "I really don't want to see any of them anymore. Anyway, I'm pretty well healed." "I was thinking more about a psychiatrist," she replied. "You have to admit that you're not the same person you were before the accident anymore, and I'm worried about you. It could be something mental and a doctor could help." I was actually thinking along the same lines. Maybe a shrink could tell me what the hell I could do to get myself straightened out. I needed someone to set me straight, someone to tell me what to do about Gwen's cheating ass. "Okay, Gwen, if you'll arrange it." "I'll go," I replied calmly. "That might be a good idea." "Really?" "I didn't think you'd agree, Paul. I memorized a whole set of arguments to convince you," Gwen admitted. "May I ask why you accepted my offer so quickly?" "Of course you can ask," I said, turning my back to her. "It's because I'm in deep shit. Good night." Tuesday after work, we met in Dr. Masters' office. She was a rather attractive woman about my age. She was dressed neatly but conservatively. She looked the way she was supposed to look in her profession. "I guess if you have kids, they're good," I suggested as we shook hands. "Why do you say that, Mr. Hadley?" she asked. "I've always been told that 2 masters can do no wrong, doctor," I answered bluntly. Her eyes sparkled as she tried to maintain a nonchalant expression. I just stared at her until she broke into a wide smile. "It's up to me to make you relax and feel comfortable, Mr. Hadley," she laughed. "Not the other way around." Then we went on for 10 minutes of predictable nonsense. I ended up calling her Doc, and she called me Paul. "Paul, I see in my notes that your wife made an appointment for you. She explained to my secretary that you were in a serious accident about 6 months ago. She basically donated a kidney to you. She also said that your recovery seems to be going well, with one exception. You've lost all interest in love. Are you sure, Paul?" asked the lady shrink. "I'll tell you what, Doc. Take off your clothes and lie down on this couch, and we'll both see how interested I am," I replied, a little irritated. I was annoyed that Gwen had told the secretary so much, and that all the blame was falling on me. Gwen could have advertised in the paper and still been more discreet. Dr. Masters looked at me intently, assessing my temperament. "Are you saying you're interested in love, Paul?" she asked. "I'm going to decline your invitation for obvious reasons, which I'm sure you already know. Why does your wife feel you've lost interest when you feel you haven't?" "Well, maybe it has something to do with her being a cheater," I replied nonchalantly. "I just don't feel much attraction to her exposing herself to half the town. Does that make me sick or crazy?" "We don't use that expression, Paul. What makes you think your wife's a cheater, as you call it, that she cheated on you? She must be worried about you to set up a meeting with me, don't you think?" Now we come to the key point. That's exactly the problem. She's been very kind to me. She gave me a fucking kidney. Pardon my language, Doc. You do understand my dilemma, don't you? I asked. You feel that your wife is cheating on you, but is willing to make incredible sacrifices for you? Is that what you're saying, Paul? The doctor asked. I'll put it in a nutshell, Doc, I replied. She's sleeping with a co-worker of hers. I saw her with him the day of my accident. I was ready to kick her ass to the curb, but then I was distracted and also grossed out by some jerk in my dad's SUV with his hormones playing up. So you're sure your wife is having an affair, and that's the reason you've lost interest in making love to her? Could your concerns have been the result of an accident? Is it possible that you didn't see what you thought you saw, Paul? Couldn't you have made too hasty an assumption? She asked. Suppose you saw your spouse meet someone at a cheap motel, kiss him or her long and hard, walk hand in hand into room 108, and see that other person run his or her hands over your spouse's body as the curtains closed. You then observe the room for an hour while they stay there. Finally, they go to their cars, kiss again, and drive away. Would you naturally assume they were just having one hell of a game of Scrabble, or would you think they slept together? I demanded an answer. The doctor seemed flustered, mulling over what I had just told her. She quickly pulled herself together and moved on. Have you discussed this with your wife? Does she know what you saw, and has she had a chance to explain her actions? You have to discuss everything with her if you ever want to put this behind you, Paul, she said firmly. That's the problem, Doc. It's not an easy decision for me to make, I admitted. On the other hand, she's the one who has to confess to me and beg for forgiveness before our marriage has any chance of surviving. She has to give me all the reasons why, how many times they dated, how long it lasted, how many men she slept with while we were married, and convince me that she's given it all up and will never try again. If I have to get her to confess, it's not worth a pinch of pig shit. I said, convince me, Doc, I added quickly. That's a lot harder said than done. I need to be convinced, and frankly, I doubt she could do it even if she wanted to, I concluded. It sounds like you've already thought of that, Paul, Dr. Masters replied. What did you hope to gain by coming to me? I want you to tell me that I'm wrong to feel betrayed. Am I wrong not to want to make love to a woman who is being used by some pathetic jerk behind my back? Am I wrong to give her a chance to explain herself? How long do I have to wait before I dump her ass? Will I be depressed and guilty if I divorce her after she donated her kidney to save me? Should I just agree to be a cuckold and let her have lovers? What if I can't even look at myself in the mirror? How can I keep things going? I demanded answers. How can I have any meaning in my life? The answers to all of these questions are in you, Paul. I can't tell you. I think you know that. I will say that you must resolve this conflict in your life, or it will destroy you as well as your marriage. We have to get together every week and work on a solution, she told me. Sure, Doc. My insurance covers it. You'll keep your professional secrets, won't you? I asked. My wife will ask me what the hell is wrong with me. Of course, Paul, she replied. I think it would be helpful if your wife saw me separately. As is often the case, this is not a problem that is created or can be solved by only one partner. Well, Doc, that's up to her. Maybe she can take time off from that bastard to drop in on you, especially if it means her weakling husband has to pay the bills and sleep with her from time to time. Tell you what, Doc, I added. If you even hint to Gwen that I know she's sleeping with at least one guy behind my back, our marriage will break up, and I'll insist that you don't get paid. And whatever damn board of directors revokes your license will have you serving tables at a cheap cafe the next time I see you. Paul, do you think you scared me? The shrink asked confidently. I'm not sure, Doc, but I had to let you know how I felt about it. If you can't give me the answers, you certainly can't give them to her. I only saw Doc Masters a couple more times. It seemed like we always came to the same place and then everything stopped. She didn't tell me what I should do, and I didn't tell Gwen that I didn't like her sleeping with other men. If you have to tell your wife that, there is no reason to keep her around. One evening, a week or so after I stopped seeing Doc, I was in the shower enjoying the warm water running down my scars. I started daydreaming about the pretty Doc and how much I would love to lay her on the couch. Next thing I knew, I had formed a pretty respectable woodpecker. Being a man, I gave my little guy a few appreciative strokes. Let me take care of that for you, Paul, Gwen whispered behind me. I almost fell over. I was surprised and turned around to see her naked with me in the shower. I hadn't heard her, and she hadn't stepped into the shower with me in years. "It's okay, Gwen. I was just daydreaming and he wanted to play," I replied quickly, removing my hand. "Then let me play with him, Paul. He wants it, and so do I. Most are in favor." She laughed. I stepped out of the shower and wrapped the towel around my waist. "Why are you being so cold to me, Paul?" Gwen asked. "I thought you'd get over this problem when you went to see a psychiatrist. Anyway, you've gotten worse." "What are you talking about, Gwen? You're the one acting different, not me. When was the last time you took a shower with me? When, before the accident, did you try to get me to make love to you? You never did. You always acted like you'd be happier when you were left alone," I concluded. "How can you say that, Paul?" Gwen asked. "I've never denied you love. That's utter nonsense, and you know it. There have been many nights when you've been too tired, had an upset stomach, or the ever-popular headache," I parried. "Just give me a reason, or reasons, why you decided you wanted love, and why I'm suddenly the bad guy for not feeling the same way. Have I ever tried to put the blame on you for coldly turning me down so many times? I wouldn't say I coldly rejected you, Paul. I was just tired or stressed out. I didn't realize it meant so much to you at the time. You should have told me," Gwen reasoned. "If I had known it meant that much to you, I would have been more than happy to let you make love to me." "Bingo!" I almost shouted. "You would let me make love to you as if it was a chore for you and an exceptional honor for me. So why wouldn't I feel like jumping on you right now, Gwen? I wasn't going to ask for mercy then, and I'm in no mood to give it now." "Feeling was once a mutual desire, but in the last few years you've killed that idea. Why do you want love so badly these days, Gwen? Why?" "I just want to feel loved, Paul. You were in so much pain that I was afraid I'd never feel you in my arms again," Gwen exclaimed. "I thought about what a good husband and father you were for so many years. The thought of losing you scared me to death. I want to love you and be loved by you. I want you to feel my love and realize how much you mean to me. I haven't ignored you, Paul. I just wasn't being as loving and warm as I now knew I should have been. I promised myself that if you stayed alive, I would make it up to you," Gwen exclaimed. "I never thought you'd be so resistant. You always wanted love before. Why are you so cold to me, Paul? Why are you like this? Does having sex with someone prove you love them, Gwen?" I asked quietly. "Did you say that? If we make love, will you show me that you love me and know that I love you?" "I want you to love me and make love to me. We've been husband and wife for almost 24 years. A husband makes love to his wife," Gwen replied. "You know he does." Gwen sobbed and ran to our bedroom. For some reason, I felt better than I had in a long time. I think because I'd asked Gwen some pointed questions and let her draw her own conclusions. One thing was certain. I wasn't going to settle for Ben Poole's leftovers. What makes any woman think a husband can accept the role of second fiddle? Of course, a guy wouldn't mind playing along with a woman married to someone else. It's free ass. No promises, no responsibility, no bullshit. It's just sex that some other asshole is paying for emotionally and financially. I just didn't want to pay that bill yet. I headed straight for the spare bedroom, dropped the towel wrapped around my waist, and crawled under the sheets. Within minutes, I was asleep. I woke up in the early morning and felt Gwen's naked body next to me. I wondered for a moment about her renewed interest in my baby before sleep swept over me again. I woke up and saw that the sun had already risen. It would soon be time to start the day. I looked over at Gwen and saw that she was watching me. "Paul, I'm sorry I'm not the understanding and loving wife you deserve," she began. "I realize now that I've been selfish and cold. I just want to make up and be a better wife and lover from now on. Will you let me do that?" "Gwen, it's not always that simple. I have one of your kidneys in me, and I'm really grateful for what you sacrificed for me," I replied. "Why did you sacrifice your kidney, Gwen? I'm still trying to figure that out." "Paul, I did it because you're my husband. I love you, and I wanted to help you. I did it because you would do anything for me. I know you would. That's the kind of man and husband you are." Gwen looked shocked by my question. "How can you even ask me that?" "I owe you now, Gwen. It hangs over my head. Was it love or did something else make you do it?" I asked quietly. "It was love and guilt, Paul," Gwen sobbed. "I feel so awful. You have no idea how much I've been hurt since that day. Paul, I had an affair. I'm so ashamed of it. I dated a guy and made love to him 4 times. The last time was the very day you had your accident. Gwen couldn't take it anymore and cried for a few minutes. My heart ached for her, but I couldn't bring myself to comfort her. Finally, she pulled herself together and continued her confession. I am tormented by guilt, Paul. You were a wonderful, understanding husband and a tender lover. I never realized there was some other type until I got involved with that other guy. He was rude and demanding. I thought I could get him to be a gentle lover, but I soon realized he just wanted to use me any way he could. He didn't care how I felt or what I wanted. We argued all 4 times we were together. He called me names and told me I was stupid for not wanting to do what he wanted. Paul, I realized that I should be doing all of this with you and for you, not for some pathetic asshole who looks at me like I'm a goddamn piece of meat. Gwen sobbed quietly. I stoically listened to my wife of 23 years confess her infidelity. Just hearing the way she confessed and how shitty she treated me made me feel better. I was waiting for her to continue. The last time I was with him was the worst. We'd argued. I didn't want to do what he wanted, and he called me names, but only after using me roughly. I know I was wrong, Paul. I even kissed him goodbye in the parking lot. He really scared me. I was scared and just wanted to get rid of him. He was the only man I had besides you, and believe me, Paul, I learned my lesson. And then I got the call that you were in the hospital and might die. Imagine my guilt and my fear, Paul. I was wrong, and I knew it. I insisted they test me to see if I could donate a kidney to you. It was a chance to make it up to you, to cleanse my soul. It was selfish, too. I know it was. I had to do it to feel like I deserved a second chance with the best man I've ever known. Gwen sobbed. It was more for me than it was for you. Why are you telling me this now, Gwen? I asked. You've kept everything inside for so long. Why are you telling me this now? Last night I realized I was losing you, Paul. I was losing you, and somehow I knew it was because of my infidelity. If I had any chance of keeping you, I should have told you everything and let you decide. If you want to divorce me, I understand. I didn't give you a kidney at all to make you keep me with you if you don't want me. I love you too much to do that. I gave it to you willingly and with love, as partial payment for the wonderful life you've given me so far. No strings attached. I made a terrible mistake. It's up to you to decide what you want to do, Gwen concluded. Have you stopped seeing another man? I asked. I swear I haven't been alone with him since that day, and even if you divorce me, I'll never be with him again. He offered to sleep with me again, but I made it clear to him that it would never happen. This was news to me. This asshole still wanted to pile on my wife after she broke up with him. It wasn't very gentlemanly, but it was a pretty easy situation to remedy. I reached over and picked up the cell phone that stood by the bed. I dialed the 7 numbers I had memorized by heart and waited. I watched Gwen try to guess my intentions, but it was obvious she didn't suspect anything. Hello, Mrs. Poole? It's Paul Hadley. All right, thank you. I'm calling to ask you to persuade your husband to stop harassing my wife. She's not going to sleep with him again, and if he persists, I'll have to resort to violence. I'm still a little weak, but tell him my trigger finger will work fine. Tell him that, okay? Bye. Gwen was stunned. Her face was red, her lips and hands trembling. It took her a few seconds to find her voice. You knew about him? No wonder you're not interested in me. How did you find out and when? I saw you at the motel, room 108, the day of the accident. I was on my way home to throw you out when I got hit by that damn kid. If he'd obeyed the speed limit, we'd probably be divorced by now, I admitted. I'm so sorry, Paul. I deserve whatever you decide. I can't imagine how hard this has been for you. When you needed me the most, I added to your troubles. I'm such a pathetic fool. I'll pack my things and be gone by noon, Paul. I never meant to hurt you, but that's exactly what I did. You deserve so much more than I gave you. I'm ashamed, truly ashamed. I'll start packing right now, Gwen said dejectedly. Gwen, if I kept you around, do you think you would want to be more adventurous with me sexually? I asked. I swear I'd be the best lover you ever imagined, but only for you. I'll do anything, Gwen promised through her tears. Announce at work today that you're quitting in 2 weeks, Gwen. I don't want you in the same building as that miserable shit, or I'll end up in jail myself. Start looking for a new job right now. Part-time's fine. You might have to use your free time to figure out how to make it all work for me. I'm not thrilled about everything, but I'm carrying your kidney, and you still seem to have my heart, damn it, I complained. We'll work on the rest. I was late for work that day, as Gwen was crying and sobbing, snuggled up to me for too long. I still don't know if I did the right thing, but I feel pretty good most of the time. You have no idea how much you owe to those who saved your life. However, it took me a long time to completely forgive Gwen. Now she does satisfy me sexually, and otherwise she has always been a wonderful wife. I just wonder why we have to wade through so much crap on life's journey to finally reach a place where we can be happy. The end!